Sister Spouse's fans stunned at Kody Brown's disgusting mouth. Sister Spouse's fans are unimaginably stunned at Kody Brown's foul mouth. He has dynamically deteriorated with the manner in which he talks about individuals, primarily his exes. Watchers can't really accept that what he pulls off, however, he has no disgrace. All in all, the thing is being said about him? Continue to peruse for additional subtleties. Fans stunned at Kody Brown's foul mouth. Kody Brown might have a great deal of outrage, yet he would blow up and holler. Say that it was a blade in his kidneys and become wild. Any eruption he would have in the confession booths would be followed up by a savage snicker, yet it was rarely entertaining. Robin Brown frequently noted he had developed progressively angrier once the plural family self-destructed, and his kids have discussed his indignation. His little girl, Gwen Brown, whom he imparts to Christine earthy-colored woolly, was authentic about his spankings. She made sense of that, she would be left swollen, and he was not gentle. Now, his mouth is comparably awful. He has criticized the OG3, faulting them for him being alienated from his youngsters. Kody accepts that they were blabbering about him and that made the more established kids fall away from him. As opposed to take responsibility, he simply blows up. In the Sunday, January 19th episode of Sister Spouses, he referred to Mary earthy-colored's companions as B*cheese and that she expected to discard them all. He likewise offended Mary and Janelle for just needing data on Coyote Pass. Now, Sister Spouses fans are calling Kody Brown out as a misanthrope and are stunned at the way that he talks about ladies. Moreover, they can't understand how his final spouse is alright with his way of behaving, particularly after the manner in which he talked in the most recent episode. A Reddit string was begun to address this. A devotee immediately had this to say. I despise Kody, yet was as yet stunned at how he acted and what he said in the previous evening's episode. His B*cheese comment was rough and misanthropic. Others couldn't completely accept that he had sunk this low. The total lack of respect. Sister Spouses fans were dismayed at Kody Brown's absolute lack of respect for his exes as well as the moms of his children. Extends no regard, care or love for his youngsters when he talks about their moms that way. A new low for in any event, for him. Kody is enraged. Mary has companions outside the family that have uncovered Kody for being a victimizer of Mary for quite a long time. 100% the manner in which he alluded to Mary's companion sells out how he feels about ladies. Also, it's regrettable. I tossed my telephone when he said he had 2 spouses who were bothers, they're actually pestering. I was so pissed. It was noticed that Kody could never be any place on the off chance that it was not so much for his exes. They made the show on the grounds that nobody would need to watch him and Robin. It was likewise tended to how he was concerned Janelle Brown would come after him for kid backing, and afterward Christine earthy-colored woolly proceeded to document a claim. He thinks these ladies are inept. However, this time, the unscripted television star caused disturbances by singing a negligible and apparently pointed tune about his alienated associations with his spouses. The occasion, which circulated during a new episode, has left fans both puzzled and entertained, starting discussions about Kody's outlook and his way to deal with managing family show. The tune that caused a stir. The scene unfurled during what should be a cheerful family gathering. With a guitar close by and a demeanor of priggish certainty, Kody started to play a tune that immediately transformed into a progression of hidden punches at his spouses. The verses, which were made due, included lines like, "An affection to remain, yet some wanderer. I gave them my heart, however they destroyed it. The person who's dedicated is the one I call regal." Fans quickly accepted these verses as not-so-subtle references to his exes, Christine and Janelle, as well as his leftover spouse, Robin, who has for some time been considered his number one. One watcher commented via virtual entertainment, Kody's tune was completely an uninvolved forceful dig at Christine and Janelle. It resembles he's deriding them for leaving as opposed to thinking about his own way of behaving. Christine and Janelle targeted. Christine and Janelle, who have both headed out in different directions from Kody, were absent during the exhibition, but rather their non-attendance appeared to pose a potential threat. The verses seemed to focus on their choices to forget about the plural marriage and strike all alone. Christine, who was the primary spouse to leave, has been open about her battles in the marriage, referring to Kody's disregard and bias toward Robyn as significant issues. Additionally, Janelle has communicated disappointment with Kody's failure to focus on her requirements and his absence of help during testing times. The line, "some wanderer," hit a nerve with fans, who considered it to be a frivolous poke at Christine's choice to separate from Kody and move to Utah. Robyn's response. Robyn, Kody's fourth spouse and his most vocal ally, seemed to partake in the exhibition. She applauded and chuckled along, apparently unbothered by the melody's disruptive nature. This response further energized fan speculations that Robyn empowers Kody's way of behaving and is complicit in the family's continuous show. One fan tweeted, "Robyn snickering along while Kody goes after his exes is precisely why she's so loathed. She ought to have halted him, yet all things being equal, she egged him on." Fans weigh in. As the episode broadcasted, fans took to web-based entertainment to voice their perspectives on Kody's melody. Many tracked down the presentation youthful and characteristic of Kody's failure to take responsibility for his job in the family's broken connections. One watcher remarked, "Kody singing that melody simply demonstrates how insignificant he is. Rather than dealing with himself or saying sorry to his spouses, he's over here ridiculing them on public television." One more added, "To this end, Christine and Janelle left. Kody is so centered around accusing others that he can't understand how his activities have harmed everybody around him." In any case, a little group of fans guarded Kody, contending that the melody was intended to be diverting and ought not be viewed so in a serious way. The master plan. Kody's melody features a repetitive subject in Sister Spouses, his reluctance to get a sense of ownership with the family's breakdown. Throughout the long term, watchers have looked as Kody's preference toward Robyn and his contemptuous disposition toward his different spouses have made breaks that at last drove the unwinding of their plural marriage. Christine, Janelle, and even Mary, who remains legitimately separated yet a piece of the family, have all voiced worries about Kody's absence of exertion in keeping up with their connections. However, instead of resolving these issues head-on, Kody frequently diverts fault, as proven by his new melodic explosion. What does this say regarding Kody? The melody is one more illustration of Kody's inclination to zero in on his own sentiments as opposed to thinking about the viewpoints of his spouses. Rather than showing regret or considering what turned out badly, he decided to transform their battles into an exhibition, apparently for his own entertainment. Fans have noticed that this conduct lines up with Kody's example of avoiding analysis. By outlining himself as the person in question and his exes as the ones who wandered, he tries not to take responsibility for the job he played in the disintegration of their relationships. Will Kody change? As Sister Spouses proceeds, fans are left puzzling over whether Kody will at any point recognize his weaknesses and work toward compromise with his loved ones. While his melody might have been planned as a happy poke, it simply developed the split among him and his exes, as well likewise with watchers who are becoming progressively baffled with his way of behaving. Until further notice, Kody appears to be content to assume the part of the misconstrued patriarch, yet as a greater amount of his spouses pull back from the family, obviously his shenanigans are causing more damage than good. Brown has wound up at the focal point of another fan banter after a clasp from the show surfaced where she seems to act ignorant during a discussion with an anthropologist. The connection, which was intended to give understanding into the elements of plural marriage, left numerous watchers scrutinizing Robyn's genuineness and intentions. The discussion that ignited debate. In the scene, an anthropologist was welcome to examine the set of experiences and difficulties of plural marriage with the earthy-colored family. The master's inquiries meant to comprehend how every spouse sees their part in the family and how they explore the extraordinary battles of polygamy. At the point when gotten some information about the family's difficulties, Robyn appeared to stagger over her words and gave ambiguous, practically equivocal responses. At a certain point, she expressed, "I don't have any idea. I surmise I don't actually contemplate those things much." Her reaction appeared to be contemptuous and lacking profundity, particularly contrasted with the more authentic and smart responses given by Christine and Janelle in comparative circumstances. The anthropologist squeezed further, getting some information about her viewpoints on the close-to-home work expected to make plural marriage work. Robin wavered, at last saying, "It's just about adoration, correct? All in all, I don't actually dive into the subtleties like that." Fans respond to Robin's responses. Watchers rushed to get down on Robin's evident absence of mindfulness, or reluctance to connect profoundly with the subject. Many took to online entertainment to voice their disappointments. One fan remarked, "Robin's entire I don't know act is depleting. She's been in this family sufficiently long to have a superior comprehension of what's happening. Playing stupid simply makes her look liable." One more added, "Robin's reaction felt so determined. She knows precisely very things continuing, yet claims to be dumbfounded to keep away from responsibility." Others noticed how Robin's way of behaving distinctly appears differently in relation to her successive cases that she esteems the family and endeavors to keep up with agreement. Was Robin evading responsibility? Pundits have long blamed Robin for being manipulative and playing the casualty to win Kody's approval. Her equivocal responses in the clasp appeared to validate these premonitions for some fans, who accept she deliberately tries not to get a sense of ownership with her job in the family's pressures. Interestingly, Christine and Janelle have straightforwardly talked about the profound cost of plural marriage, frequently featuring the penances they've made and the struggles they've confronted. Robin's reluctance to participate likewise has driven fans to address whether she really comprehends, or thinks often about, the battles of her sister spouses. A determined move? A few fans conjectured that Robin's dubious responses were an intentional endeavor to keep up with her picture as the blameless spouse. By acting ignorant, she abstains from saying whatever might implicate her or paint her in a negative light. One watcher noted, "Robin knows precisely exact thing she's doing. By imagining she doesn't comprehend the elements of plural marriage, she's moving the concentrate away from herself and onto different spouses." Others contended that Robin's way of behaving mirrors a more extensive pattern in her communications with the family. From her underlying prologue to the Tans, she has frequently been seen as somebody who redirects fault and dodges a conflict, all while situating herself as Kody's number one. The anthropologist's response. While the anthropologist kept an expert disposition all through the discussion, watchers really wanted to see unobtrusive changes in their tone and nonverbal communication. Numerous deciphered these as indications of dissatisfaction or doubt at Robin's reactions. At a certain point, the anthropologist delicately tested Robin, inquiring, "Do you think staying away from these discussions makes it harder for the family to develop and resolve issues?" Robin seemed bothered, offering a dubious answer about how everybody has their own particular manner of managing things. What's the significance here for Robin's standing? Robin's conduct in the clasp has additionally established her standing as the most disputable individual from the earthy-colored family. While her allies contend that she's essentially more held in private than different spouses, pundits consider her activities to be important for an example of control and redirection. Fans have likewise noticed that Robin's hesitance to take part in significant discussions about plural marriage subverts her cases of being focused on the family's prosperity. The master plan. The clasp has reignited discussions about the difficulties of plural marriage and the jobs every spouse plays in the earthy-colored relational peculiarity. While Kody and different spouses have confronted their reasonable part of analysis, Robin keeps on being a point of convergence for fan disappointment, with many blaming her for focusing on her relationship with Kody over the prosperity of the family in general. As Sister Spouses advances, it is not yet clear whether Robin will address these reactions and play a more dynamic job in defying the family's issues, or keep on acting ignorant even with struggle.